Hello everyone, today I'm reviewing a 2006 Audi A6 Avant, but this is no ordinary A6. This car here has done over 200,000 miles on its odometer, and you're probably thinking, oh, it's going to be a dog, it's going to be a massive money pit, but that's why I'm here to film it and find out. So let's kick off this review. Firstly, it'd be rude not for me to give a big shout out and thank you to the owner, Aaron, for bringing his car down so I could do this little video on it. He does have his own YouTube channel called Car Obsession, and he does do car reviews. He does also have a very comprehensive breakdown of what this Audi A6 is like to live with. He's got 1,000 mile update videos on it, fuel challenges, etc. Loads of stuff. Make sure to check his channel out. All links will be in the description box below. You're probably wondering why on earth has a YouTuber gone out its way and bought a 15-year-old Audi A6 estate? Well, it turns out Aaron needs something a little bit bigger and a workhorse that could be used and abused. Don't forget, Aaron owns a Mark 1 and Mark 2 Seat Leon Cupra, and fuel prices, they're nearly reaching £2 a litre. That's incredible.
Emotional damage!
And the car market, that's as uncertain as Boris Johnson's job, so this purchase kind of makes more and more sense. That brings me on to the model variant that I'm currently reviewing, and it's the 2006 A6 Avant SE with the 3-litre 6-cylinder diesel engine producing 233 brake horsepower and 450 newton meters of torque. 0 to 60 times is around 7.4 seconds, and it tops out at 150 miles per hour, which is fine because most new German cars are limited to 155 miles per hour anyway, and you probably have to take a £7 option to take that off. That's the world we live in right now. As for the cost, Aaron bagged this for £1,500 or £1,480 if you want to be precise. Sounding pretty good to me until he left the dealership and the car refused to start up again. That's a true story, by the way. Anyway, as for the car tax, it will cost you £565 per year, and rightly so, because it emits 226 grams per kilometre of CO2. I think this is the most polluting car I've had on my channel. The general wear and tear on this 200,000 mile Audi A6 is minimal. Aaron tells me majority of the buttons in this car work, which is astonishing. I mean, there are a few scratches, blemishes on the side of the car, and some of the badges are missing on the engine bay, but that's about it. Other than that, this car is pretty much spotless. If someone came up to me and told me this car had done 200,000 miles, honestly, I would not believe them at all. The boot space is the shining point of this car. 565 litres of space. Probably the most amount of space I've had in a car on the channel. I mean, just check this all out. So much space to play with. It does also feed into the rear seats. There's loads of space in the rear seats for rear passengers. They should never complain. And that's why I'm not going to do a rear seat section, because I mean, there's loads of space and there's nothing to complain about. So let's head straight into the interior. Moving on to the interior of the Audi A6, I'm just shocked as to how well spec'd this car is. Don't forget, this is the SE trim level, and in Audi's terms, that is literally the entry level car, the entry level trim level. And this car, yet still comes with leather seats, heated seats, dual zone climate controls, Bose sound system, and many more. It's actually incredible. Aaron does say majority of the buttons in this car works, and I can confirm he's not really wrong on that. I would say it's most likely down to the fact that this car's only had 2 previous owners, one of which owned it for 11 years. That's more than a decade. This car does also come with a massive stack of paperwork, so there's a lot to go through. As for just general wear and tear in the interior, I mean, it's actually quite minimal. This piece is slightly coming off. I mean, the seat bolsters are a little bit demolished. I mean, there's some black tape over them, but you know, we'll skip over that. But the general interior, other than that, is actually fine. There's all the buttons, all the lettering on the buttons haven't worn away like some other cars would. This car is, the interior anyway, is very well kept. On to some of the more interesting features within the infotainment system, and there's options to select if you like either your front, rear or both windows to open when you hold down the unlock button on your key fob. This is quite common in new cars, however it's nice to see in a car from 2006. Also, Audis from this generation come with a CD handbook. Can imagine most owners never kept a hold of this. I can't recall if Aaron still has his copy, but I can imagine on the second-hand market these are extremely inflated with pretty much everything else. miles. I would say the most important thing with a high mileage car is the air conditioning. So we're going to do a little aircon test. At the moment, we're currently going through a heat wave in the UK and aircon is a bit of a priority, and my Peugeot 208 over there doesn't have any and it needs to be regassed and it's killing me off. So let's turn this car on, foot on the brake, and put the air conditioning to the lowest possible degree, and let's see if it blows cold air. Yeah, kind of. It's nearly there. It's nearly there. Anyway, let's go for a drive. Right, so just driving off initially in the 213,000 mile Audi A6, and I've got to say it's very smooth for the mileage that it's done. It's one hell of a comfortable car to drive. The suspension feels very smooth, indicators, a little bit worn to what I remember from Audis, but it's still okay. Flappy pedals in this car, plastic, and they feel very small, very thin. Mighty amounts of torque, 450 Newton meters. That is crazy. Imagine when you tune this car, imagine the amount of power you could get out of it. There is a bit of a delayed response from the engine, but when you get your foot down, it does pick up. And we're only doing, what, 40 miles per hour right now. Brakes, they're okay. I would say they might need some attention. I'm not too sure. Does slosh about a little bit, but it's so funny. Let's just give this car a bit of an acceleration and see what it's like. So, gearbox in sport, shift down into second, foot down. There's just absolutely no noise. I mean, I'm not too sure what peak torque is, but nothing really much happens after 3,000 RPM, and it's very, very quiet inside this cabin. One feature that I love in the Audi A6 estate is the glove box. There's a button for it to pop open. Proper retro. Don't see that in Audis anymore, unfortunately. This is bringing back memories. So my father actually owned a 2007 Audi Q7, and I always wanted to drive it. And finally, the time has come. It's not the same car, but similar engine. It might be the same engine, in fact. This is like the best era of Audi, in my opinion. As you know, the era where the Audi R8 came out, and then the Audi Q7, and these cars were just peak times, crazy engines. A V12 in a Q7, remember that? Yeah, this car was part of that era. The mirrors on this car as well, I would argue, are quite small. They feel like they've come out of a Audi A4. Foot down. Oh yeah, it does pick up. You actually don't notice the speed, which is scary. Diesel cars just hide their speed so well. And there's that knocking noise that, Aaron, that's the
inner tie rod on the offside.
That's the one, yeah, I definitely hear it. The weird thing is, Audi used this interior for the Q7 for such a long time. So the Q7 came out in, well, this, and the Q7 came out late 2006. And the last Q7 to use this interior was 2005. Oh God, I can't remember. I'll put it on the screen right now, but God, what? That's what, 7 years, 8 years? So that's a little tour and review on the 2006 high mileage Audi A6 Avant. This car has nearly traveled to the moon, as if you didn't know, it's about 240,000 miles away. And I just find it unbelievable a regular car like this could travel such distances. I mean, these engines are really bulletproof, if they are well maintained, that is. And that goes with every other car as well. And with that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.